testing this originally, I found that these springs are not doing their job. It's actually cranked all the way and they're pretty loose, so we're going to add some high tension springs to it. So what I mean by high tension is these bad boys. These steel, I don't really have a lot of give, so we're just going to, that's one, that's a really high tension spring, so yep. And we just test it by pulling on it. We want them to be as tight as possible because we want tuning stability to improve. Yep, so those two. Yep. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave the tension on the guitar because we want to see what the bridge does. Just going to remove one of the springs. We're going to very graciously insert the high tension spring. And just by doing that, we've already reduced movement. We'll do the other one too. I've already spoken to the customer. And the fact that it has 5 springs in it and it's cranked, yeah, look at that, that's good. So now we've got no movement, which is good. That's all she wrote. So these 2 springs were the ones that came from it, I believe. Doesn't really matter. We might want to add one more high tension spring to it. Yeah, that's the one. Just to be safe, we'll add it in the middle. Yep, the other one. I believe these were Gotos. Yeah, you can instantly see them. So just by doing that little fix, we now have tuning stability. That bridge isn't going nowhere. It will still move if you use it. I can always set it up, but it wasn't requested. And it's not the strong point of this guitar. So finally, what we're going to do, body portion is fine. Can do with a little tiny bit of adjustments. Just grab you up a bit. Just to make it smooth so it doesn't hit. You can hear it hitting. Body. Just like that, make it nice and smooth. Pretty dodgy. We'll replace that.
В фильме Silent Hill все тот же скучный, надоевший вид. Приходи ко мне слушать старые пластинки, Divine Comedy, Питера Габриэла и Стинга. Мир сошелся.
So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a little bit of glue just to hold it in place, just a little tiny dab. Probably can't see, I'll go back on camera. I'm going to apply a little dab of glue in the inside of this, just like so. 2, 3. We're going to put that on. I'm going to let the glue do its thing, and that should secure it. Hopefully, we'll just go this side too. I personally like to replace some glue, but I've got nothing to replace it with. Alright, so these strings are relatively in good nick, so we're going to just undo them and work on the neck. And the tuners are loose, but they're very basic tuners, very affordable. But this is actually a little bit of history. This is actually a East German guitar. So this would have gone to the European nations back in the day, and that makes it really cool in my books. Yep, blues doing its thing.
Надоело все, что там снаружи. Давай до утра старые пластинки слушать.
You're wondering what the back looks like? You got a little serial number up there too, which is quite cool. So I don't know how these are going to cope. Muffin, watch out. Undo them. Looks to be a plywood body too. Plywood bodies are fine, there's nothing wrong with a plywood body. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We'll do story time, alright? So I was going for a band audition a long time ago when I was actually playing music, and I bought a Les Paul Gold Top tribute, or a studio, I should say. And it had 57 pickups, it had, you know, the Gibson wire rig in it. It was a fantastic guitar, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it felt, I didn't like the way it played. It was perfectly set up, by the way. It was absolutely phenomenal. My mate helped me with that. But this is when I wasn't doing this. Well, I was just actually starting this, believe it or not. But yeah, it was perfectly set up. Everything was fantastic about it. But I just didn't like it. I was more into my Strat at the time, which was a plywood body. It was actually a casino Strat with a Chinese neck on it. And, you know, this band made me... Oh, sorry, just looking. This band made me go and get a new guitar. I upgraded my equipment. Sorry, I'm just going to let the dog inside. Come on. Inside. Yeah, so I upgraded my equipment. I've still got the same amp I use now, which is my Laney, which is currently out with my amp guy. And yeah, I went to all this trouble to make sure I had the correct sound for the band, and I had a Les Paul, my first sort of expensive guitar, and I didn't like it. So on the third audition, I think it was, because it was a really weird sort of process, I ended up bringing in, well, sorry, the first audition I had my Explorer, which was cool. I like Explorers a lot, but the band didn't really like the look of it. So I can sort of relate to the edge. But yeah, so I got my Gibson, took that in. They were absolutely wrapped, you know. Oh look, he's got a Gibson. Awesome, I got a Gibson too. It's going to work out well. And yeah, it was okay. It sounded a bit dull. I had some really good pedals at the time. I have still got the pedal I'm using now. And so I bring in my plywood body Stratocaster with a Chinese neck and I forget what pickups I had in it, but yeah, I bring it in and it absolutely destroyed. It was amazing. It sounded exceptional. It was, I had Mighty Mike pickups in it actually, that's right. And yeah, it absolutely destroyed and sounded exceptional. It was awesome. They were all like, "Oh man, that's awesome, you know, that sounds really good." And I was like, "Yeah, it's plywood." And then they weren't too happy about that. They didn't really like the fact that it was plywood. But it absolutely destroyed the Gibson. And then after that, I sort of held on to Gibson for a while and actually sold it and kept that plywood Strat. I still have the body somewhere, I believe. I think this is the body actually. Which way it is? Oh no, I can't. It's underneath thing. But yeah, the it's now going to become a very British looking Strat with some awesome pickups I can't wait to try out. I'm currently refretting the neck. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with a plywood body. Plywood's actually quite stable. It's a nice material. Not as pretty as your solid body woods would be, but it does the job. And it's a really nice affordable option. So I've got no issues whatsoever with plywood guitars. I think they can be quite good actually. And that's where you go into the realm of these weird kind of guitars where either Eastern European or Japanese. A lot of them are plywood. And they sound really good. So the key point here is you can enjoy some nice wood. It's a quality thing. You know, if you're spending a lot of money on a guitar, you want it to have the best possible stuff you can. I'm talking about electrics, by the way. Acoustics are a whole different kettle of fish. So yeah, a guitar is just two microphones running through an amp. At the end of the day, wood has an effect, but not as much as you'd think. There's plenty of tone wood demos on YouTube if you want to check it out. So yeah, if you got a plywood guitar, do not be ashamed. You can sound just as good as your more expensive counterpart. And that's my little life lesson for today. So yeah, I'm just taping this up because I'm going to polish the frets. They're looking a bit in need, but this is just a fret polish. I'm not going to do any fret work because again, the owner really likes the way it plays. I might do a slight bit of tinker with the action, but I haven't decided yet. The frets are actually quite tall, which is good, so it can be deceiving when you are looking at the overall action of the guitar. You have to take into account the actual fret height because you tend to look at the wood as opposed to the top of the fret. At least I found with people who haven't done it as much as us guitar techs have. So your overall action is dictated by your fret height, not your wood height. So you might have very tall frets and it looks very tall, but it's not because you got to remember it's going off the top of the fret. So yeah, we're just going to apply some tape like we normally do. Just about there. Yeah. Alright, we got everything to 10. Get this out the way. We haven't stretched the strings yet. I'll stretch that afterwards before it gets picked up. But everything's on 10. We're currently in the middle position, which is a gold foil from GFS. I like it a lot. Pretty sure it's running 500k pots. So yeah, now we've locked the bridge down, we have tuning stability, which is quite cool. Because before, on my original demo, it just would not stay in tune. That's a really cool pickup, man. This is my first time ever hearing the GFS gold foil swing coils. That's really cool. I believe that switch does nothing.